Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline. I wanted to make an interesting little update. I think, well, not about my life, but just a topic that I thought about. And life has been going pretty good lately. I've been riding bikes and planning trips and stuff like that. So life is pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy right now. Work is great. Life is actually really good. So I can't complain. I hope it stays like this for a long time. But you know how life does, up and down. So there is a topic I was interested in discussing, and I find this interesting. So my best friend is back in town, and we're hanging out, and I think he's moving back here, and and so we have trips and things planned, and all sorts of stuff. But he was talking to me about his well, as of right now, it's his nephew. I'm guessing, like I don't know what you call someone who's that just confuses me. See, I'm like, you can't say they and them, because like I guess you say their relative, that's their like sibling's child, is thinking that they're going to transition, or they want to transition into a woman. They're 14 and they're wanting to wear women's clothing and makeup, and their parents are pretty accepting. It's like supposedly they're pretty accepting, and so on and so forth. But they've also kind of wanted me, because there's a lot of depression, a lot of like extreme sadness with this individual, this child. And so they want me to come around and just hang out and not even discuss all the trans stuff, but just show them that this is an option, and that you can live your life this way, and so on and so forth. And if I had seen a trans, well, I did actually, but I was like a little bit older. I was like 16, 17. And when I met my first trans individual, and with them, it didn't work for me, because they weren't taking hormones, and they didn't really transition. They were more like, I guess, non-binary. So for me, that didn't click. And when I looked at them, I was like, well, that's not what I am. So I drew a line with that one, and I was like, and then when I actually saw a friend of mine who actually took hormones and transitioned and so on and so forth, I've discussed this in my past videos, and then it clicked, and that's what I wanted to do. So, so if I can expose and then they can see me, then maybe they could see that it's a normal thing to be trans, and it's no big deal. Like, it's just a thing. So that's kind of a thing. Anyway, so I asked them if they were doing a testosterone blocker for their puberty, blockers and stuff, because they're 14. And I'm an advocate for that. I believe in that. I believe you don't want to go like full on where you like block it so much that there's just nothing. I do think that maybe cut it in half, so that the side effects of testosterone, which are a male thing, obviously. So you have larger shoulders, you have the deeper voice, you have more body hair, you have wider shoulders. I mean, I've already said that. And you have male features. And so blocking that, or at least like slowing it down, is something that I wish I knew when I was younger. And so now that we have society that people can transition, and they know they can, it's easier to say, okay, well, it's a possibility. When I was younger, if someone told me that, I would be like, I don't even know what that is. Because, I never thought you could actually transition into a woman. I just thought it sucked that I was, a man, and I was stuck like that. So, and I medically, like the body hair, the masculinity that comes with testosterone, that's what bothered me. And so it wasn't how society treated me or anything. It was more like my own internal issue. So, yeah, so me exposing myself to this kid may actually really help them. So that's something that I, is going on lately, and I'm going to help this kid. So the topic that I kind of was interested in, and this is something that, of course, borderline controversial, maybe. I have a feeling that it's like my videos always have something that is just in that gray area, that either people are like pissed at me about saying, or they're like, I never thought about that. That's interesting. That's the area I want to be in, but I think people get pissed before they get there. So there's an individual commenting on all my videos, and I've ignored this person. They keep asking to like want to marry me, and that they're, I think they're foreign or something. So they just keep saying shit that's like, I'm amazing, you should marry me, and like, it's just all that nonsense. And I just keep ignoring them. Well, one of the comments they made was on a video, and it was discussing their detransition, that they had detransitioned. And I was like, oh, okay, so you transitioned. And it took them 2 years to get their body start functioning back to where it was before they transitioned. And so in this thing, I realized, I was getting ready this morning and it hit me, and I was like, there are so many people that try to date trans women that are either trans now or they like cross-dress. And it's like a fetish, it's like a sex thing. Like they want to put on silky panties and, you know, roll around. And so there's either like that or they're transitioning. So I will discuss, and I've had it, this is bizarre, but the more people I've dated out of everyone, there's been so many times that I'm like shocked, like years later, that suddenly they're trans. And I'm like, really, that person? Like they transitioned? I mean, there was this one, I'm going to say guy, because holy shit, this guy was like a country ass dude with like he drove a bug, which I think people who drive bugs and beetles are like unstable. That's just my theory. It's a crazy theory. But he also had like a monster truck, and this monster truck was like ridiculous. And he was so forceful with me, and it was to the point where like he would try and like grab me and try and like, we went to a movie once and he tried to like, you know, grab me in the movie theater, and I got really pissed. And anyway, I ended up, and he got angry at me one time. He's like, I've taken you to dinner. We've gone to the movies together. And it was like that. And it was like, he was expecting like a payoff for it. And it was really creepy. And eventually actually, when he said something close, I was like, what do you think? I owe you something? I'm sorry. Do I owe you something? So when he like he was like country. So then I like got up from the table. It was like, yeah, no, bye. And I just got in my car and I left him there. Like I was like, it was at a coffee shop. I was like, get the fuck out of here, psycho. So I just left. And that was like 10 years ago. And nothing ever happened between us. And then I found out he ended up going to, this is a long story short, he ended up going to my ex's house in Los Angeles, who's kind of popular there and owns a couple of bars, and some of them are trans nightlife bars. And yeah, evidently my ex contacted me. He was like, there's some dude here that's like, says he knows you, and he's like sleeping with all these girls. And the guy actually went out there to my ex's bar and slept with a bunch of trans women because I wouldn't sleep with him. So I think he was trying to like experiment with me or something. So anyway, yeah, dude's a woman now. Like, they transitioned into a woman, and I saw them years later, and it was actually the most bizarre thing, because a friend of mine that I've known for years sent me a video. Was like, look at this trans person that's like pro-guns, pro-Trump, pro like all this like fucking QAnon shit and stuff. And this was a while back, like a year ago. And I looked, I was like, who is that? And I'm looking at the video and I'm looking at their face. And I was like, I swear I know this person. And then it hit me. And I was like, holy shit. And they're like all redneck now. Like, well, they were before. But they're like trans woman redneck. And they live in San Francisco now. And they like hate, you know, left-wing people and socialists. And they think everyone's communist. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre. So, and that was the weirdest one. But I've had times where like I've dated someone and I'll come home and they'll be like at my house and they wouldn't know I'm there or something, like someone who's staying with me or something, and they'll like steal my panties and like stuff like that, and it's because it turns them on or they're sexually into it. And now they call themselves non-binary, and I'm like, whatever. You know, whatever, you know, you want to call it. But, you know, if everything you have to do with women is their soft women clothing and makeup and a dress, and if all those things turn you on sexually, this isn't really like a trans thing. This is a fetish thing. And so we have this very like gray area as trans people that, it's like sex. It's just always about like hooking up and women's clothing and sex and fetish shit. And so, yeah. So anyway, my topic is like, I feel like a lot of people try and date trans women so they could find out how trans women work. And I think they're sorely disappointed with me. Because they want to date me, but then, and it's all fine. You can be any of these things. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy is all that matters. Like, so whatever I like, you know, joke around with stuff like this, or like guys stealing my panties and shit. Whatever makes you happy is your own thing, and by all means have it. But, you know, for me, I'm like, not my thing. So, you just have to say that. And so when it comes to dating, I feel like it happens a lot of the time. So I feel like, you know, people try and date us to try and get an inside thing. And I'm incredibly boring when it comes to sexualizing feminine things like panties and bras. I wear sports bras. I wear, you know, sports underwear. Like, I'm very, like, I try to be, like, athletic. It's more about function. and exercise and so on and so forth. Like I'm not, you know, very feminine in that way. It just never did it for me. So when people see me, they think, oh, look how feminine she is. And I'm like, I'm not feminine because of wearing women's clothing. I'm not feminine because of those things. I'm feminine just because I naturally kind of have that look. I do wear makeup and do my hair and stuff. So yes, all that goes together. But when it comes to like kind of the way I act and the person I am, it's my fashion is not as feminine as people expect. And so I think I'm like, people think they can just like date a trans person and then they can just be like a fetish with them because they feel like it's okay with them, which is insulting because that means they see you, or say if I date someone, they see me as a man that puts on women's clothing as well. They think they're similar. They just don't do hormones or something, you know? So they think that we're like similar, but to me, it's a totally different thing. Like, I think I disappoint people because when they date me, they're like, wow, she's just a girl. Like, she's just living her life. She just has a normal job and she doesn't like to drink. Like, it's just so normal that they're like confused. They're like, but this is like a trans individual. And I'm like, no, not all of us have to be into like unicorn dildos. Like, that's a huge thing in this, you know, it's like unicorn dildos and lingerie panties and like, you know, all the stuff. Not all of us are into that. Some of us are into normal things or even just like different things. Like I like my alien collecting and stuff. Like you can see I have my little table here with a little alien head. You know, I'm reading Dune, Messiah, the second book. And so, you know, oh, actually I'll show you my room. I've been doing it. I like alien setup. So I got like a little poster there, another poster there. And this is my, my statue I have and a little book on it. It's kind of like a little setup, but I'm working on this room to make it look, you know, it's like my little museum kind of bedroom. About alien. But yeah, so that's about as interesting as I get. And I think people expect all these things. I mean, you know, I'm not identifying as a wolf anytime soon and howling to the moon at night. You know, I'm not, there's so many things out there now. And I think people think when they like meet a trans person, they're like, oh, she's freaky, you know, she's freaky. No, I'm boring as hell. I am so boring that, you know, I would put anyone to sleep. Like, you know, I put the Dalai Lama to sleep. Like it's, so, nah, he's way smarter than me. Anyway, so, I do think that, we are fetishized and then the community itself has become, a group of people that like we're mixing with those people, and then people are getting a misunderstanding of trans individuals. And so like non-binaries moved in and all these people have kind of moved in and now we're all just mixed together. And then I come off as like this like straight girl that's, you know, privileged. What do they call it? Like I have trans privilege because I pass and so on and so forth. And I'm like, look, I understand like privilege because I was once a white male. I was a white man and I know the difference because I'm treated differently after I transition. So yes, from personal experience, yes, there's such a thing as white privilege, and white male privilege is a real thing. And so we're all just trying to play catch up to white men. I get it. However, when it comes to like trans passing, it doesn't mean that people suffer less dysphoria or mental health than anyone else. Everyone thinks that like good looking people stereotypically have it easy. In a way, but everybody deals with their own thing. But yeah, I think it's because like right now I'm single and I could go out and date as many people as I want. I could do whatever I want. And, well, I'm getting my vaccine on Wednesday, so we'll start hanging out with people after that. But it's one of those things where I'm young-ish. And so, yeah, I can do my thing. The problem is it's a saturated field with, like, cross-dressers and stuff. Like, everybody wants to, like, come over and then, you know, and hang out. And then the next thing you know, you find out they're stealing your panties and your underwear. Like, it's just, it's the trans community and people who date trans people. Ugh, it's exhausting. There's a lot of times, like, I wonder if I should have just got my SRS when I was younger and just vanished, you know? Like, I wonder if that, you know, would have been a good thing. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, that's my little ramblings on another video. I hope everyone's doing great. I hope everyone's having as good of a spring weather as I'm having here. It's amazing. And I hope everybody's enjoying life. I will talk to you guys later. I'll make another video soon. Bye.